Hi, I wanted to give you a brief tour of what the LimaCharlie Agentic SecOps Workspace means. So it'll just be just a couple of minutes. We're just going to get straight to the good stuff, why you should definitely be trying it and what's amazing about it. So why is it amazing? Very quickly, there's kind of three big reasons. So one obviously is the capabilities, and we're going to show you that right away. Number two is accessibility. So the accessibility meaning this is not a thing where you're going to have to go and talk to a series of salespeople to eventually get a demo and then maybe get access to the thing. This is in the next 5 minutes. If you'd like, you can go in, create a tenant on the community version of LimaCharlie, immediately get into the product, connect in, and you are getting to the value right away. Like it won't take more than 5 minutes. It's amazing. Number three is the price. So pretty simple. Whereas a lot of dedicated AI SOC or like these types of solutions that you have to buy are going to be billed straight away by token plus some cost by the vendor plus, very, very expensive. People want to make money there. We are taking a very different approach. We are essentially saying, hey, bring in your subscription. So by coming in with a Claude subscription, you will be able to just get in with a fixed cost per user and just get all of the value. There's no additional fee by LimaCharlie. There's nothing like that. We don't really believe in that. We believe that the AI at this stage is just like an ISP, just accessing the thing. So it's going to be very different, especially if you're an MSSP or you're an MDR or somebody like that. It can be next to impossible to scale with other vendors. We make it trivial. So it's really, really cost effective. It's great. Cool. All right. So let's get into the demo real fast. So very first thing here, you will see we have a repo, a GitHub repository of the Agentic SecOps Workspace, where we have a ton of stuff that is put in there. First thing to note, you get two different modes that you can use this. If you want, you can install this and use it with your own Claude Code instance, CLI locally, extremely powerful. But if you're not a Claude Code user already, we have a fully managed web version that requires absolutely nothing and is free. You can just go in. So let me show you what that looks like. So I can just go in here, say that I want to go and connect. And you're not seeing it, but essentially what we're doing is that we are starting an OAuth flow with Claude. And so I will just click authorize, copy. There we go. That is it. That's it. You're done. Nothing else. At this point, I have my own subscription, and I have as much as I want to be able to use within LimaCharlie. You'll see that there's a couple of other ways you could bring in your API key if you want, but you do not have to. So let me show you some examples. So I've got two examples here that are kind of preloaded, just because I don't want people to wait. So, hey, I have a bunch of tenants in LimaCharlie, right? LimaCharlie, it's essentially like a hyperscaler for cyber security operations capability. So you get whatever you want, whenever you want it, at whatever scale you want it. So we are just amazing for service providers, particularly because of this. So here I'm just saying, hey, I want a billing report. And I want to, get that in like nice markdown across all of my tenants, focus on, how much data I'm ingesting or I'm sending out rather, like super straightforward, right? Like here is this report, just like a couple minutes later, it's gone. It's customized this entirely to what I needed. I'll call out that like, hey, this looks like just a report. If you are not aware of what Claude Code is, it is not the same thing as Claude. Claude Code is a whole command line tool usually, but what it means is that it has access to a whole Linux instance behind it, underneath it, where it's able to leverage local files, do all kinds of searching and capabilities and connecting into other command line tools. So the power that you get from this is multiple orders of magnitude greater than a typical chatbot that you would get in most other platforms. So, okay, cool. This is just one report. Great, that's fine. Let's get a little bit more advanced. So, I did not know much about the Mongo bleed vulnerability that came out during the holidays. So I honestly just asked it like, hey, do a bunch of research on that vulnerability, then look for it across all of my tenants, and then draft some detection rules, detection and response rules for me to see, if I'm affected in the future. So you can see, I mentioned, those additional tools. So you can see those tool calls doing research on the web for us, and then calling different tools into LimaCharlie. So discovering all of the tenants that we have, making a checklist, a to-do checklist of what it needs to do. And then as we keep going, it's determined the things that it needs to look for. It has launched all of those queries across everything in LimaCharlie. It's kind of telling us, what it's finding as it goes. But I asked it for a report at the end. And so that is what we get. At the very end, we get basic information on that vulnerability. We get the IOCs that it has been looking for, or the behaviors that it decided to look for. And then we have the organization. So the tenants are analyzed. What are the exact specific queries that it launched for each one of those? What did it find? And then finally, here's all of the detection rules that it decided to create. And then it ends with some, recommendations. What is really cool here is that I could then just literally put in the next message, okay, create those detection rules across all of my tenants. And that would be done within a couple of minutes. I could also go and say, hey, those instances that you found, I think it found on one of the boxes, we had Splunk running. And so something that might be important for us to look into. I could go and say, hey, I want you to go and fetch those binaries, right? Fetch the executables that are related to that. You could keep the threat hunt going. You could do reverse engineering within this. You can do all kinds of things. So this is not use cases. LimaCharlie does not do use cases. What we do is we do kind of the purest agentic approach here, which is we have created expert knowledge about all of LimaCharlie, and we just make the tools available to the agent. The agents are becoming better than the vast majority of folks at doing a lot of different things. So it's not necessarily they'll replace people, but it is, especially if you are a junior analyst, maybe that wants to, hey, I want to connect this new data sources to a tenant. Instead of spending 3 hours going and Googling and finding out the documentation, how to do it, this can take it from zero to fully done in a couple of minutes. So it is an incredible force multiplier for users, for analysts, for administrators, for threat hunters, just across the board. In fact, we do not do this as a closed ecosystem where, we do vendor lock-in. You don't know what kind of magic we do with the AI. Everything that we do, all of the skills that we leverage, all of this is found directly into that repo. You can go, you can look at it. This is text, this is markdown. You can extend it trivially. You can create your own that only you have about how your processes work. You can absolutely do this very, very easily. It's an amazing way of also taking a senior analyst and very quickly codifying, hey, here's how we think we should be doing this type of investigation in the company. And then you're good to go, right? You can just leverage this across the board. Not only can you do this interactively, you can also do this through the automations in LimaCharlie. So we have an automation engine. Well, you can start to say, hey, when I see this behavior, I want to trigger this agent. And then you're able to see all of the agents that have been running, that are running within your tenant, what they're doing, how they're responding. It could be just investigation. It could be response. It could connect into the MCP server you have for your ticketing. You can customize, make that very, very easily available to everybody. And we encode really powerful safety into this in the form of a specific permission that is required to be able to leverage AI on a given tenant. So you can restrict who can and can't do that very easily. And we have the ability to leverage our amazing infrastructure as code approach and extend that into things like SOPs, standard operating procedures. So now you can use, infrastructure as code across your 5,000 tenants if you'd like, where you say, here's the SOPs for this type of activity. And the AI is told whenever it starts to operate on a given tenant to look for SOPs that match what it's trying to do and to load those in and take those into account. So it's an extremely powerful system that we've got here. And really, the thing here's I go back to the three kind of really cool things about all of this is not only is this really, really powerful, but it's also available in the next 5 minutes if you want to leverage it. It's available on a credit card if you want. So certainly, you're an MSSP, like onboard your next customer on this, like try it out. It's crazy easy. And the value of having all of this baked in, if you'd like, is not only, yes, can you take, your other EDRs, like, your Defender and your CrowdStrike, connect that in, that's fine. We also have our own EDR that's extremely powerful that you can just leverage again without competing with those vendors. You can connect in all of your other platforms, all your other logs, and you just get all of this power just built in. It's not like, okay, let me go and buy some AI stock capability. Let me spend 3 months trying to connect that in to these 10 other systems that I've got. Let me do professional services engagements for no, it's just designed to be easy and get to the value quickly, right? We're at the point where this is not rocket science anymore. We know how all of this stuff works. You should be able to just get access to it in a really powerful way, in a really direct way. And that's exactly what we're doing, what we're bringing in. So hopefully that was useful. If you have questions, get in touch with us. We are more than happy to give you demos, especially given that, I gave you like a tiny sliver here of what's possible, but it's infinite, the number of things that you could do. So we just love chatting with people about what could be done. So yes, get in touch with us. Thank you.